The dragon problem. This is a fairy tale. And while we're reading, we're going to think about where do good ideas come from. We're going to read how Liang gets a good idea. And judging from this cover, it looks like he's going to have to fight a dragon of some kind. Once upon a time, long before computers, baseball, or pizza, there lived a young man named Liang. During the day, Liang helped his father build furniture. At night, he made unique, original toys for the children in the village. He made birds with flapping wings. He carved dragons with rippling, moving scales, sharp claws, and red eyes. Every child in the village had one of Liang's dragons. Liang knew a lot about dragons because one lived nearby on a mountain. A few times a year, the dragon would swoop down on the village. He ate water buffalo, pigs, and any people unlucky enough to be around. The emperor had done nothing to get rid of the dragon, even though his summer palace was near Liang's village. One day in May, the emperor and his family arrived to take up residence at his summer palace. As the procession passed through the village, the gracious Princess Peng smiled kindly at Liang. He fell instantly in love. At dinner that night, Liang told his father that he wanted to marry Princess Peng. His father almost choked on the stale, hard rice ball he was eating. "You're joking," his father said when he finally could speak. "I'm serious," insisted Liang. His father began laughing so hard that the old chair he was sitting on broke. He lay on top of the flattened chair, still laughing. "I'll show him," Liang muttered angrily as he stomped out of the room. The next morning, the emperor's messenger made an official announcement. "His most noble emperor proclaims that whoever gets rid of the dragon will marry his daughter, Princess Peng." When he heard the announcement, Liang raced to the palace to be the first to sign up. Then he looked for his friend Li to help him brainstorm ideas for getting rid of the dragon. Unfortunately, Li was away. Liang sat on a bench frowning. Nearby, children were playing with the toy dragons he had made them. "Liang, what's wrong?" the children asked. "I have to get rid of the dragon on the mountain," he told them. "I have an idea," said little Ling Ling. "Why don't you carve a giant dragon and leave it by the cave? It will alarm the real dragon and scare him into flying away." Liang stared at her. "Perfect!" he shouted. He rushed home. He worked frantically for days, making a huge, scary dragon's head. The night he finished, he loaded it onto a cart and went up the mountain. When he got near the cave, Liang put the wooden head on top of a big rock. From the front, it looked like the rest of the dragon's body was behind the rock. Liang hid in the bushes and gave a loud roar. "What's that noise?" growled the dragon, rushing out of his cave. Then he saw the massive dragon head glaring at him. "Go away, or I'll eat you up," he commanded. The huge dragon continued to glare at him. "Oh, he must be very strong. He's not afraid of me," thought the dragon, who, like all bullies, was a coward. He decided that now was a good time to take a long trip. "Actually, I'm leaving now. Please make yourself at home in my cave," the dragon called out as he flew away. A year later, Liang and Princess Peng were married. They opened a toy shop together and lived happily ever after. So, boys and girls, a fairy tale is A story that has a main character who must complete a difficult task or journey, usually contains imaginary creatures. It includes illustrations, and it has a happy ending. So right here you can see this illustration, and this illustration helps you kind of see how Liang solved the problem. He created a toy dragon or a model dragon to scare the real dragon away.
Fairy tales. Fairy tales. Wait, if you read a fairy tale, does that mean you like fairies? Well, it's not really about fairies all the time. A fairy tale is a story that has a main character that has to complete a difficult task.
You call that difficult?
Yeah, Liang had to get rid of a dragon. That was hard. Yeah.
It wasn't difficult.
Says you. And then it also usually contains imaginary creatures.
I'm not imaginary. That's offensive.
Don't be offended.
Too late.
And then it includes illustrations, and it has a happy ending.
Wrong.
Colorín colorado, este cuento se ha acabado. Like that. That's a happy ending. And they lived happily ever after.
That doesn't always happen in real life. Ask the knight that I just ate.
Well, that's why it's called a fairy tale.
Fairy tale.
Because it's not real.
The essential question this week is, where do good ideas come from? In this story, The Dragon Problem, the main character, Liang, has a huge problem with the dragon, and he has to figure out how to get rid of the dragon. We're going to go back into the text and see how he did that using our idea of brainstorming. Remember, brainstorming is solving a problem by having a group members all contribute ideas freely. So let's write the group on each blue bubble. So Liang would be a member of the group. The children would be a member of the group. And Lee would be a member of the group. Remember his friend Lee? So what did the children do? The children asked what was wrong. Right? They recognized that something was wrong with Liang. But little Ling Ling, little Ling Ling had a great suggestion. She suggested, a suggestion is an offer of an idea, that Liang make a toy dragon. That's what she suggested. Now, Liang really took that idea. So his idea really came from her, because remember, Lee, he couldn't find Lee. So Liang couldn't talk to him. He couldn't talk to Lee. So he did not get his idea from Lee. He didn't get his idea from the children. He got his idea from Ling Ling. And then he decided to he made a giant dragon head. So he didn't make the whole dragon, because that would have been impossible and it would have taken too much time. He made a giant dragon head. So she suggested that he make a toy dragon. He made a dragon head. So he changed her idea slightly, but her idea helped him. So then going back to our question here, which is, where did Liang get his idea? Well, now we're going to answer the question. Liang, whoops, but I don't want to do it with that. I want to do it with the Liang got his good idea from Ling Ling. Okay, so there, I just answered the question in a sentence. I didn't just say Ling Ling. I put the who of the sentence, which is Liang. Liang. What did he do? He got his good idea from who? Ling Ling. Now you're going to think about a problem that you have had to solve. where did you get your idea to solve the problem? So this is what you'll be answering. Where did you get your idea to solve the problem? And you're going to write a sentence about that down here. Okay? Now you're not going to do it on this movie. You're going to have a different assignment that will be called the Dragon Problem Brainstorm. And you're going to fill out that document. But this is just helping you to understand how you're going to do it. So the first thing you need to think about is who was with you. So if there were 2 people with you, then you're going to need to X out one of these because you only had 2 people. If there were 4 people with you, you're going to have to add a bubble, okay? So up here, you're going to write who. You're going to write the person's name, who, and who. And here in the middle, you're going to write what the problem was. So what were you trying to solve? And then in the middle of these bubbles, you're going to be writing what were their ideas. Now, you're going to be part of the who. So one of these who's is going to be you. And then you're going to write down here, type probably, a sentence answering where did you get your idea to solve the problem.